go.
Hello.
You want to do the intro?
I'm the honorary Dream Warrior for the evening.
Yeah.
Yay, me!
And you are my sister.
Yes, I'm the big sis.
And we're gonna
This is Heather.
Heather D.
Heather D.
And we're gonna be talking about LaLa Land.
Yeah.
We were commenting on how awesome the theme is.
Yeah. It's definitely takes me back.
Yeah. It's, do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
The third Friday.
Was it the third or the fifth?
It's the third one.
Yeah, it's the one where the group of kids they go to the mental institution, right?
Yeah.
Is that the one?
And they are, yeah.
Is that the one where the girl turns into a cockroach? She's like lifting weights and like her arms come out and she becomes like the cockroach.
Yeah.
And the one girl's burning herself with cigarettes because she doesn't want to fall asleep.
And it's the one with the death where Kruger becomes the television.
Yes.
And smashes a girl's face.
Yep, yeah. Exactly. And that was, oh God, was Patricia Arquette in that movie?
I believe so, yes. Yeah.
Classic.
You are also enthralled.
I'm being stalked.
By Dallas. Dallas the cat.
He's the mascot. He's the Dream Warriors mascot.
He's
the best.
He's the entire mascot of my life now.
He's totally. He doesn't like that he's not being paid attention to.
No, he just woke up. I think he is. I think he was dreaming of being alone forever. He wakes up and sees new people here and just gets excited.
All right, so really I'm here because we wanted to wait till we were with each other to talk about a movie I was extremely hesitant to watch. And that is LaLa Land.
Yes, why were you hesitant?
I think that I couldn't get, there was this like extreme amount of hype and extreme amount of buzz right around September, October, like all of, the trade magazines, the websites start to talk about, Oscar frontrunners, award show frontrunners. And in looking at the trailer online and the very minimal description of the movie on IMDb, could not get a handle of what the movie was about. Is this going to be something paying homage to Singing in the Rain? Meaning, is it set in the 1930s? Is it set in present day? Yeah. What kind of story are we dealing with? I just thought that the title LaLa Land and then the very sparse description of what this movie was about, and no one was really talking about it. All I know is I saw I'm not a huge lover of Broadway musicals. I like Broadway plays. Don't love Broadway musicals. Don't really love singing movies. So I think I was if and when I have to see it, I will. And I kind of got dragged kicking and screaming.
But you're also a huge fangirl for Xanadu.
I make no.
I
don't even apologize for it anymore.
Always on the list of one of the worst musicals in Hollywood.
So I was taken to see that movie when I was 6 years old, and I think you have to. It's like true suspension of disbelief. You have to just allow yourself to get sucked into what it would be like to be a Greek muse in present day. Okay, yes, the sets were really bad. Yes, if you were to watch it as an adult, you wouldn't even be able to make your way through. You would laugh and then turn it off. But as a child, I was so captivated by it. And the fact that Gene Kelly was in it.
Yeah, it captured your imagination.
And they totally, he and Olivia Newton-John recreate that famous scene between he and Debbie Reynolds in Singing in the Rain. And then you throw in Electric Light Orchestra and you have this amazing soundtrack that really gets bastardized for being part of the movie Xanadu. And to me, my two favorite movies are Xanadu and Gone with the Wind. So you can't get any stranger than loving one of the all-time most beloved movies and one of the most panned. So yeah, I guess I'm a walking contradiction.
And where does Streets of Fire rank in your top movies?
Just so high. It's like a comic book come to life to me.
Yeah. So that would maybe be like top 3.
Soundtrack wise, like
Yes.
forget it.
Very, very much underrated.
Yeah,
Like underrated
I mean,
music. In
Tom
the sense
Petty,
that
Stevie
no one-
Nicks
yeah.
wrote for that. Jim
one talks
Steinman, who
about that.
produced all of Meatloaf's stuff, Bat Out of Hell and everything, does a lot of work on the soundtrack. And I mean, that's the first time I can ever remember seeing Willem Dafoe. He scared the shit out of me.
I just discovered a movie that I'm pretty sure it's called Loveless. And his character in Loveless is almost the same character.
Is it set like
in
around the
Streets
same
of-
time?
He looks almost the same.
See, that's the thing about Streets of Fire is like you I still kind of don't know when it's set because it feels very 1980s, but it feels very 1920s.
But those are the best. Like La La Land even falls into a little bit of that category.
100%.
It crosses over.
Yeah.
And outside of maybe Cars and a cell phone, there is nothing else to date that movie.
Especially if like as I'm watching the opening sequence, which takes place on a freeway in Los Angeles, by the way, the same freeway that they used to film many of the scenes in Speed.
Yeah.
So it's a very well-known highway in Los Angeles. And that's where the singing and the dancing, the very colorful choreography comes in. If you can get past that opening sequence, then the movie begins.
Well, it's also that opening sequence was setting the stage for what is coming. Mm-hmm. It was a primer.
They had to find a way to have like this chance meeting that would play out later in the movie. They're stuck in traffic honking at each other.
Yeah, it's also like because we're just talking about the movie. It doesn't matter if you've seen it or not. Who cares?
We're not really going to spoil much of it. I mean, it's a classic love story,
I would like to get into it because that moment in the beginning echoes a little bit of what happened at the end.
Absolutely.
Where
it does come 360.
It's a glance, it's an eye contact, and it's two lives passing.
Right.
Now, real quick though, this gentleman, who I think is a flat-out genius.
Oh my God, Damien Chazelle?
That wrote and directed this. Are you familiar with his filmography?
I know that he wrote and directed my favorite movie last year, which was Whiplash, which is another one of these movies where it's not a musical, but music is very heavily prominent throughout the film with J.J. Is it J.J. Watt?
No.
What is his name?
No, J.J. Watt is a professional football player.
No, sorry.
It's Simmons.
J.K. Simmons won his Academy Award for his work in that movie.
I think that was the best movie of last year.
I 100% agree with you.
So Damien, the writer-director,
he's 32 years old.
He has a appreciation for music, and between Whiplash and this, I feel like he's exercising a demon.
He understands it.
Yeah.
It's like, and specifically, I'm not a jazz lover, and I think you have to be really smart about jazz music, and something needs to click inside of you to appreciate it. And I think he totally, really does get it.
I think between these two movies, you have an education on why jazz is important.
Yeah.
And why it needs to be relevant.
Yeah, and how it can be relevant.
And he makes his own arguments through his characters.
Absolutely.
In that movie. Now, he also wrote 3 stellar movies.
Okay.
In an age when a lot of people, when you're hired to write a screenplay, it's often said that you write a screenplay, but they make a movie. And a lot of times the two don't intersect.
Sure.
And you have really talented people. This guy named Max Landis, he wrote a movie called American Ultra. Mm-hmm. He wrote like a Von Frankenstein update. His scripts are constantly getting butchered and moved around, but he's the creme de la creme of pitch writers and screenwriters in Hollywood. He is the son of Max Landis, also. Okay. So you have that as like the peak, and then there's this guy who wrote 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Oh, right.
Grand Piano.
Okay.
And The Lace Exorcism Part 2.
Is such... Both of those movies.
Yeah, The Lace Exorcism.
Very good.
Very committed to what's happening by the end of that movie. Meaning that it's the apocalypse.
Right.
And it's such a ballsy ending.
I just don't know how, in his head, he gets from 10 Cloverfield Lane to La La Land.
I feel like he's a screenwriter that his screenplays end up on film because people don't want to mess with what they have. They know they have something good.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see what will come next from him.
For sure. And I really like that
exciting.
he's a young director, and particularly with La La Land, he worked with young actors, right? We have two very young leads. And I like the idea that there's no disconnect in generation there, so they can all be on the same page. I want to talk a second about who was originally slated to star in this movie.
Yeah, go through some of that, because I'll just give you a little bit of background. I had no idea that this movie was what it was, other than everyone kind of around me was seeing it.
Okay, so I think we should...
And I never saw the trailer. I barely knew that Emma Stone was even in the movie. I kind of knew Ryan Gosling was in the movie. I didn't know he had a big role. I thought he was just in the movie.
Yeah.
He's been doing kind of a lot of cameos and
he's been taking smaller roles, and he's somebody who really, I think, excels. Some of his best work is in independent film.
Well, almost all of his work is independent film, other than what's coming out, what we'll talk about.
I think we should explain the premise of the movie is that this is literally the long and short of it on IMDb. If you look, it is an aspiring actress falls in love with an aspiring jazz musician.
Yes.
And literally that's it. But they tell this story of them meeting but then falling in love over 4 seasons. So it's very much that spring. It's almost like the feeling of falling in love. You have that summer love, spring romance, summer love, and it's very honeymoon phase, and you're all up in each other's business, and you can't stand to not talk to each other till 3 o'clock in the morning and be with each other every single day. And then, kind of you get to know each other and know each other's little tics and annoyances, and those little things can turn into big things. And so it tells the story of falling in love over 4 seasons in a very metaphorical way.
So, real quick, how much of that, did any of that resonate with you?
Very much.
When they were...
Gosh, Ryan Gosling, great. So I can never see this movie again. I can't watch The Notebook again. Ryan Gosling is my kryptonite.
I'll tell you one thing. I said to myself at the end of this movie, I said, does he ever end up with the girl? Ever.
In any movie? I know.
Consistently.
Well, he did end up with her in The Notebook. It's him at the end of the movie. She doesn't go James Marsden.
Yeah, and also
he got the girl.
In Crazy Stupid Love,
which I got 3/4 of the way through, and I'm like, I hate this movie. Yeah, so I don't know if he gets the girl in the end.
Yeah, it kind of falls apart in third act, where everything perfectly, it's almost like Love Actually.
Here's my issue with that movie.
It all aligns perfectly.
I cannot stand movies that don't pause the soundtrack or pause the music for the sake of a dramatic scene. And Crazy Stupid Love is one of these movies where it's the music never stops. There's some sort of score accompaniment underneath. And I'm that. There was a movie with Hilary Swank called P.S. I Love You that I almost literally walked out of the theater on because the music never stopped. It's distracting.
Yeah, and a lot of people said the same exact thing about Suicide Squad.
Which I haven't seen,
and it's something, I think it's a technique that either, it almost gets you really paying attention, or it annoys the living hell out of you.
I mean, it could work in something like a comic film, because, you want almost that all the way through. But
in those types of movies, the scores are used as themes and indicators. And you know that the bad guy's here. You know that danger's coming. You know that the hero swings in.
So maybe it has a place, but just in that movie, it just really put me off.
So real quick, do you know the budget for this movie?
I think it was $90 million. It
was actually $30 million.
30. Oh, so they've already made that back times 3.
And right now it's at 138. So here's the funny thing. When it comes to the business of Hollywood, you have something like Transformers, and these movies are $1.3 billion movies each. Okay, Transformers being such a big franchise that has propelled Michael Bay to the second highest grossing filmmaker of all
time.
Next to Steven Spielberg.
Sure.
Okay, he's number 2, which is amazing. And then you have margins like this, which are astronomical.
Which what have we really talked about is that like all of us are talking about we have no idea what this movie was about. And so this is word of mouth.
Yeah.
This is on the street, like what is going on with this movie? And those are like the best Cinderella stories.
I was really into knowing that this was a little bit of a throwback movie.
It's shot in CinemaScope, which we have to say was one of the first color techniques ever used on film in the 1930s and 40s.
100%. Like, I'm just going off the tip of my brain here. Like, I know they had that in the beginning, but I'm not sure if that's possible since a lot of the cameras that would run CinemaScope film are done.
Okay, so I'm
like they're like I would assume that there would only be a handful of those cameras.
See, I would be curious to see how it played. Now, you saw it in the theater?
Yeah.
Okay, so I had a media screener from the studio.
Okay, great.
So I watched it, on my 45-inch television at home. So I would think in the big screen, I don't know if it like played differently. Like you're seeing it in a different perspective than I did.
I was having this conversation with someone else. Things are so good at home. It doesn't matter.
It probably doesn't matter, but this is really such like a larger than life movie. Yeah. Just that opening sequence, and there's a scene where they visit the planetarium at the observatory, which is
absolutely the best scene.
Super gorgeous. And I think that's where the telling of like the metaphorical and the realistic actually fully meld is in that scene. But they go back to the observatory, which was made famous by the movie Rebel Without a Cause with James Dean.
Yes.
And they're in a planetarium, and it's literally that feeling of, when you feel light on your feet and your head is in the clouds when you're in love, and they're dancing and they're twirling around and the stars are there. And
it's also a huge metaphor.
Yes,
for
absolutely.
Exploration, discovery, the unknown.
Right.
Jumping into it. And, it's great that they use Rebel as this movie hopefully acts as like an advertisement for Rebel.
Yeah.
And it's great that, again, too, that's why it feels grounded, it feels dated. But then again, I always feel like when characters fall in love with old movies, or when that's a part of the story, it somehow grounds the character. It makes them so relatable, so quick, and you understand that they're quirky and they're off-center. It's such a easy storytelling device, but it's so little used.
But and he did it really. I think Damien Chazelle did it really subtly, because I don't know if anybody picked up on the fact that every time that Emma Stone's character goes into an audition, she's wearing a red leather jacket, which is what James Dean wears in Rebel Without a Cause.
Here's the funny thing: in the beginning of that movie, she consistently had blue shoes on, even blue flats.
Oh, okay.
And I thought that was maybe something, but then it turned out it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just, but
it's like you'd start to look for those little
this is that
those threads.
Type of movie where cause every frame looks designed.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out what some of the notes are,
But that particular scene in the observatory, the point that I was making was that I would have loved to have seen that on the big screen.
Yeah, I saw it in a somewhat crowded theater, all the way in the back, but it was a very very wide screen. So, and it was nice, but at the same time, I mean, it is a loss. It's almost like you lose your eye for how stuff sticks out because of what you have at home.
I agree.
One time, do you remember when VHS tapes started going widescreen? And that was a huge deal.
Yeah.
And then
you had that letterbox in the top and the bottom, and it was
and then you would have to buy 2 VHS tapes because it would come out in widescreen. And you would have regular it was called paint and scan, or sometimes not even that. And then widescreen, and it's that was almost a home revolution. But now, literally, TVs are designed for that.
Correct.
Sound systems are designed.
And convex screens and everything.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a bad thing, because I think it opens more people up to what the full scope of the work is, it's as opposed to like, does it matter if you see, like, the Ten Commandments, like, in, like, CinemaScope? It may not have been CinemaScope. But
maybe it mattered. Maybe it mattered then. What was it, Panavision?
Well, each studio, there was a couple, like, emerging technologies back then. Like everyone had their own gimmick.
So maybe it mattered then. Like, I don't really know.
But I also think it's a little bit of, like, that ship has sailed, especially when sometimes it looks better at home, like, with the nature of theaters, and that's that's mostly with, like, modern films. We are getting another visit by Dallas.
Come here, Mr. Man. Will you come sit with me? Okay, you're so cute. Hey, come sit up.
He is
He's lovey tonight.
Yeah, he's in.
I thought I was gonna have to bring gloves to fend off his claws, but
no, I clipped his claws.
Are you all good?
So he should have little
meow,
needles.
Meow meow.
And he is.
Hi, Mr. Man. Come on.
He's been eating. Yesterday he ate in one feeding. He ate 2.5 cans of food.
You make sure he doesn't have, like, a tapeworm or something.
Nah, he just I don't know.
Are you a scavenger?
He just loves eating.
Come on, come up here. Anyhow.
Yeah. So anyway, when I finished this movie, or, like, during the movie, one of the things that stood out to me was Ryan Gosling more than anything else. Where
it really is his movie.
Where he's such a good actor. Like, you lose yourself through his performance.
I appreciate his nuances.
Yeah.
Like, he's a very, like, subtle actor.
He was doing something weird with, like, his hair too throughout the entire movie. Like, he always had, like, a string in front of his forehead.
Yeah.
And this is not a sexualized performance. Right? No shirtlessness.
No. Damn it.
Yeah. But he actually had really good forearms in a couple of those scenes.
Do you know that he learned to play the piano in, like, 47 days? Those scenes are not dubbed over. That is him actually playing. John Legend, who stars in the movie in a very small role. It's more of a cameo. He actually is a producer on this film. Damien Chazelle came to him, and John Legend helped to underwrite this movie. But he said he looked at Ryan Gosling going, like, this kid is, like, a genius. Like, I'm a classically trained pianist, and this guy picked up the piano in 47 days.
And that's awesome you go in that thread, because I did a little bit want to talk about him and his movies and a little bit of his early career.
Yeah.
But real quick, who else would you put in Gosling's category of talent?
I mean, they're not too far apart in age, but I would definitely say Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay. See, I left Leo off my list just because he's, like, a common one. But I would Jake Gyllenhaal. They're the same exact age.
Oh my God,
they're both 36.
He's so good in this Nocturnal Animals. I cannot even believe that his role is not getting more attention.
And
he's fabulous.
Well, and I feel like the two of them are in parallels where their roles are consistently different.
I know you mentioned that before. They take very diverse projects,
like,
and we know that Jake doesn't necessarily take the really commercial roles. We know that Ryan Gosling coming in his next film is a paycheck, in my opinion. But
it appears to be.
Yeah.
But I will say this though, it's got Jared in it, in Blade Runner, Jared Leto, and right now, doesn't that add, like, a body of, like, it kind of salvages.
I heard something about him attached to that, but I assumed it was maybe, like, he was in talks to, like, be the opposite to Harrison Ford, and we're talking about the upcoming Blade Runner remake.
Yeah,
but
it's actually
is
titled
it like a
Blade Runner. I think it's 2045 or
I mean,
like
we'll see. But Ryan Gosling, he's a very nuanced actor, but oh my gosh, he's made so many good movies over the years that some that I don't even know that people pay too much attention to, and it's sad.
I watched one of his earlier movies not too long ago called Prefontaine. Stephen Prefontaine was an Oregon Duck distance runner.
That's right. I remember him.
His coach is
being
the co-founder of Nike, not Phil Knight, but the technical side of Nike. Damn, is he good in that movie?
Yeah.
Like I can't think of a. We have Dallas now exposing his belly.
He's just trying to get into it.
No, he is. He's in his goofy mode.
All right, I can't pay attention to you now. He's too distracting. He's like when Ryan Gosling has his shirt off.
Yeah.
I can't look away.
But yeah, and no, but so I would also put he's about 5 years older, but Casey Affleck. And,
I guess
and your top.
I
three
guess we'll
emerging
see
talents.
because
I think he's going to get it for Manchester.
I haven't seen the movie yet.
see.
I hear amazing things. Like this is like 100% his like breakout. I like to see that he's got top billing in a movie because
Yeah.
Matt Damon was supposed to play this role and his schedule with The Martian got switched around and he said the only other person I would give it to was Casey Affleck.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see. I'll have to take a look.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know that Casey's had enough like leading man roles that I could kind of compare him to Ryan Gosling yet. But
I will say this: he emerged in the assassination of Jesse James.
that's a
Okay?
fabulous movie.
The Brad Pitt movie.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Pitt vehicle, essentially. He's been relevant for a long time.
Yeah.
Because I've been paying
I think he
attention
gets
to him.
overshadowed, a
It's-
lot.
Yeah, and but at the same time, he is an actor's actor
Mm-hmm.
in my eyes. Okay, so real quick, we're gonna leapfrog Mickey Mouse Club. 93 to 99.
Absolutely. We can't forget that he's alongside the likes of Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, Kerry Russell,
Yeah.
Nikki DeLoach, who I literally love from MTV's Awkward. She's hilarious.
What a amazing class, right?
I mean,
Like
a lot of
luminaries.
winners.
Yeah,
A lot
so
of winners there.
I picked up an interesting fact during this time
Okay.
for Gosling. And I think this is one of those connective tissue things that make like learning about this stuff just seem fun and amazing. Because I really feel like sometimes their lives are as what we see on screen.
Okay.
And I know that's a very fanciful way of like looking at it.
Yeah.
Probably naive. Justin Timberlake
Yeah.
has a mother.
Yeah.
So
Very involved in his
yeah.
like management in his life.
Gosling's mother had to go back to Canada for visa reasons.
Okay.
Guess whose mother became the adopted mother?
So he essentially is like Justin Timberlake's kind of adopted brother.
Yeah.
Because
Think
his
about
mother, Justin Timberlake's mother, who I can't remember her name, but she's a lovely woman. Essentially raised Ryan Gosling during the time they were in Orlando, Florida, filming the Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Isn't that amazing?
Why don't we see them together more often, though?
Well, because you know what it is? It's
I guess they
it's
go their
still a
separate ways,
business, it's
but-
an industry, and sometimes when you're young and you're in this type of group and kind of close, right? It's almost like college.
And also, it took
And-
him a long time. He didn't get that instant success. He kind of went off the radar for a while.
Yeah.
It's not like he just jumped right into, we know that Christina, Britney, Justin Timberlake, obviously just moving and, sticking with the music world. They moved into their careers. It was like the very next step. That was the next thing they did. But like Kerry Russell, Ryan Gosling kind of went off the grid for a little while before they kind of popped up.
So Gosling, he's been acting his entire life, essentially. Went back to Canada, went into television. Got his own Fox Kids TV show, Young Hercules.
Okay.
Okay, he was in episodes, I believe, Goosebumps.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was a TV guy. TV burned him out. He goes into movies. Does a couple movies, and then boom, Notebook. Right? He hasn't disappeared since.
But I saw him something in
well,
before. I gotta look back over his,
I think his most
filmography.
his most notable movie. That you can look it up. I'll go into this. I think his most notable.
I think the first thing I ever saw him in was Drive.
Was Remember the Titans.
Oh, I've never seen that with Denzel Washington.
With Denzel,
Okay, so
okay.
I've never seen that.
So I'm going to go from Notebook to Drive. Okay.
So good. With Holly Hunter, right? No, is that the? Wait, what's the one with Holly Hunter?
That is Crash.
Oh shit.
That's the real Crash. The one directed by Cronenberg, not Crash, the Academy Award-winning movie.
No. Crash, like James Spader.
Yes, James
Okay,
Spader.
yeah.
Yeah, David Cronenberg.
All right.
fantastic.
Yeah, I forgot about Drive.
Yeah. So real quick. So he's in Notebook. Second, his follow up to Notebook is actually a solid movie called Stay.
Okay, I'm just trying to think about the first thing I ever saw him in. 'Cause
Okay.
I know it was way before The Notebook. By the way, love Half Nelson. Oh no, I'll tell you what the first thing I ever saw him in. I was like, who is this guy? Because he was dating her at the time.
Oh.
Sandra Bullock, Murder by Numbers.
Oh, yeah,
He's one of the teenage killers in Murder by Numbers with Sandra Bullock, and it was like such a big deal because he was like 19 at the time, and Sandra Bullock was well into her 30s, and they were dating. Yeah. That's the first thing I ever saw him in.
Yeah, so he
does Remember the Titans right before that, and then he goes from Murder by Numbers. There's a film in between called The United States of Leland, and then we skip to The Notebook.
Yeah, so I want to go from Notebook to La Land real quick.
Okay.
We have Stay, directed by Mark Foster from Monsters Ball.
Okay.
And the hugely underrated, overlooked Quantum of Solace James Bond, second Daniel Craig James Bond movie.
Okay.
I think people.
Ryan Gosling's not in that.
No,
it's just the same writer.
Same director, and then we have Haif Nelson.
Freaking love that
Amazing
movie. Okay.
Fracture.
Lars and the Real Girl. Let's be serious.
What a funny,
twisted,
crazy
freaking movie.
Yeah, but then
because he's essentially playing against nothing.
Yeah.
Like he's playing against nothing. Blue Valentine, which
amazing.
with Michelle Williams.
Yes.
So good.
Crazy Stupid Love we already talked about.
Ides of March.
And we have Drive, 2011. Ides of March, right? Great 1-2 combo. Now he's on the roll. Place Behind the Pines.
Place Beyond the Pines is who was in that? Oh, Brad Cooper.
Yeah,
that's right. That movie was so I cannot believe it didn't get enough attention to me. I thought everybody was great in that movie.
And then we kind of have a Hollywood mashup, Gangster Squad,
which I've never seen, but
which is similar to the Newton Boys, the Untouchables.
Okay.
Every few years there's a period gangster mashup movie of young actors.
And Emma Stone is in that with him as well, so that puts them together for the second time.
Yeah.
We move on to there's a film in between that and The Big Short called Only God Forgives.
Yeah.
But then we get to The Big Short, which
real quick, let's go back to Only God Forgives.
Okay.
Because that's directed by my boy Nicholas Winding Refn.
Okay.
I think he is the best director today. He's the director of Drive. And he just did Neon Demon.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw Neon Demon.
I don't know a lot of his. I'm looking at his work. Okay. With was Emma Roberts in that?
No, I think the Olsen girl or one of the oldest Olsen, I think. Or
I don't want to Elizabeth. I don't want to speak out of turn because I don't know a lot of his work.
But he's okay. So we'll just leapfrog real quick.
But he did Valhalla Rising.
Yes,
and I know that gets a lot of attention.
And Bronson also with our if you're a fan of Tom Hardy.
Love him.
And that's still next to Locke. That's Tom. I think that's Tom Hardy's second best role.
Okay.
But okay, so we have Only God Forgives, Lost River. He's director.
Oh, right. He's that. So it's not showing up on his actor.
I don't know if you saw that.
No,
I haven't, but it's kind of on my list now.
Who else is in that? Who starred in that?
It has.
Who was willing to give him a chance as director?
It's actually what it sounds. I remember reading an interview with him. It might have been Esquire, where he talks about his fascination with children's stories and children's myths, and I know that was the origin of Lost River.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm very interested in it. Okay, then we have Big Short, Nice Guys, and La La Land.
Okay, so The Big Short, he's part of an amazing ensemble cast about the collapse of the housing industry. I
thought his character is actually pretty funny.
His characters, but he's the very straightforward, right? He's not the antagonist. He's not the protagonist. He really kind of serves as the narrator of the story.
Yeah, and then he's I just want to make money. I don't care who's right, who's wrong.
Just put me on the side to make money, right? So there we go. Bada bing, nominated for an Academy. Not he, but the film nominated for an Academy Award. Now here we are to La La Land, back in the elite circle, A-list. And he wasn't even supposed to be in the movie, which I want to get back to.
I think all the movies we just named are all solid movies.
He makes good choices.
He is on a role that I don't think we've ever seen in Hollywood history.
Yeah.
I mean, just as a person, and that's just because I love him. Like, he amuses me, but like, to me, like, whatever Woody Allen is in or touches or period, I love. Period. Because I love Woody Allen. But that's still not the same as what Ryan Gosling is doing.
Yeah.
Like, he's consistently in different roles, challenging himself.
He's never seemed really, like, again, he's never seemed very driven by if a movie becomes commercially successful. Maybe La La Land, because the attention that it's been given, it unintentionally puts him there. But I do really honestly believe he selects the roles that he really thinks he can bring something to, and that he's interested in. His agent probably hates him because he probably turns down more than he accepts.
Yeah, I mean, he's been offered everything, from The Dark Knight to Green Lantern. Yeah. He's always in the mix of these conversations.
We'll just say he's like he chooses smart. Like, he's very smart about his roles.
Yeah, and comparatively speaking, though, when it comes to bigger movies or tentpole movies, I do feel like Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt are always in good movies. And I know people are kind of about Tom Cruise, but yeah, I think they're all...
I have other issues with him.
Yeah, they're all great. They're all watchable, I think. So, real quick, though, just so we speed this up here. So, not really speed up. J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, he also makes a very, very brief appearance in this movie.
When you were watching this, were you thinking it's the same character from Whiplash?
No, I was thinking it was this. I'm sorry, he's the State Farm guy to me. Yeah. Is it terrible?
But in Whiplash, you
he
never
could
find
be
out
I know
his name. You never find out his first name.
Right.
And his name is Bob in this.
So he could be the professor.
He could be the
instructor. Yeah.
The
music instructor.
Ended up opening up a jazz club, and he's kind of like a dick to him also.
And he's not in this very much, and so you don't really know much. I mean, it would be a funny common thread if that, if he pops up again in another Damien Chazelle movie.
Yeah, I kind of put that this was like where that character ended up.
Well, this movie, honestly,
so that's like
was supposed to reunite him with the original people signed onto this movie. And actually, before they started principal photography, like, they were already in the mix. This was supposed to be Miles Teller, who was in Whiplash, and Emma, I'm going to get her name wrong, Emma Watson from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But she chose to go with Beauty and the Beast instead.
Why
because
wouldn't you?
Because she made the very commercial decision, and the very extremely underrated Emma Stone, who in this movie is heartbreaking in scenes. Like, good for her, man. She will probably get a nomeration. She will not win the Academy Award, but she is another one I'm so happy about.
I was just watching a movie deal. I was just, it was late at night.
Tell me you're watching Easy A.
No.
Superbad?
We're going further back.
Oh, before Easy A?
Yeah. So
what?
So I was just flipping, and you know what it is? I don't know why. Sometimes I just want to watch movies with hot chicks.
Okay.
And I'm just like, what? That's how I found Keanu Reeves' Knock Knock. Which I loved.
Okay.
And I'm just like, on the thumbnail, it had like two. It had two girls. I'm just like, oh, it's got hot chicks, and Bill from Bill and Ted. Like, it's got Neo from The Matrix. Okay. And hot chicks. I'm watching.
Okay.
So, House Bunny.
Oh my God! She's the geeky girl that they make over.
Yes.
I saw that movie in a drive-in movie theater.
Okay, so House Bunny is essentially Revenge of the Nerds
with girls
wrapped around the Playboy mythology, and meaning mythology.
Right.
None of that is the reality of living at the Playboy Mansion.
Anna Faris, Rumor Willis, like Catherine McPhee, the random. I totally forgot that Emma Stone was in that. I love that movie.
And I was watching this movie and just totally enjoying it because I really think it's the second best Revenge of the Nerds movie ever.
Well, like old school.
Yeah, I mean, it's Revenge of the Nerds created a formula that is forever repeated. It's actually a landmark movie if you consider that.
Sure, because it's a formula that works over and over again.
Yeah, and like
you swap out the players.
There's like,
sure. Everyone loves an underdog.
Yeah,
everyone does.
It's the true and I thought this nailed it kind of like if you were to do Revenge of the Nerds from a
got,
complete
like,
female.
1 star.
Yeah.
It's so it is one of those good movies that if like nothing else is on, like you're gonna giggle.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It was like 2:00 in the morning, 3:00 in the morning. I didn't even care. I was watching it. I freaking loved it.
I loved it. Yeah.
So, and then, for her, we have, like, we kind of go from House Bunny, for me, Super Bad, and then
Easy A.
Easy A, Birdman.
Oh,
What she
there's a
was
lot.
fantastic in.
She's so good in
She's
that.
fantastic in Birdman.
And again, another here we go.
Yeah.
Like 2 years in, she finds herself. If you'd have told me when I watched Superbad that this was going to be just like this girl that Seth, that Jonah Hill was trying to get the attention of in this movie, just this like, teenage movie, that she would become all this. But man, good for her. I mean, they're so young. These kids are so young. It's like, I love watching them like grow and be successful.
I'll compare it to something. So a lot of the child actors that we grew up with, License to Drive, right? How many times did you and I sit down and watch?
I mean, anything with Corey Haim, anything with Corey Feldman,
like we watched a lot of those
Ralph
like,
Macchio,
like teen angst,
Sure.
kind of like Ferris Bueller-esque
oh god,
driven movies.
Molly Ringwald,
Right.
anything that she did.
So and these actors one by one fell off, right? For what reason? Drugs.
Sure,
Partying.
drugs, and they aged out.
Yeah, and well,
With the
like-
exception of like, I don't know,
like the only
like
exception,
a Rob Lowe, a Demi Moore,
the only exception that broke through from that entire class,
Robert Downey Jr.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it took him a while to
And-
kind of get back
And
to
he got
where he is.
lucky with Iron Man because no one knew that movie was what it was. He got okay. So we have a whole class completely decimated, and so that's when my alarm clock watch is going
Okay.
off. Yes, it's not a big deal.
No, like,
Yeah,
there's not a bomb in the hallway or anything.
So there's a similar industry where the same exact thing happened, and it's professional wrestling, where we had an era. If you go back to like the first, I think 10 WrestleManias, more than one half of the rosters are dead.
Yeah,
They're dead.
sad.
They're dead from concussions, oxycontin, cocaine.
Steroids.
So it goes on and on. Okay, and then a generation emerges. That was kind of heralded by Triple H and these two guys named Edge and Christian, which were kind of like straight edge, no pun intended. These guys took over the company and became stars and created a new thread. So now there was like a generation of people that absorbed the content, knew the faults of the generation before them,
Sure.
got into the industry off of drugs.
Right.
They did things right.
Right.
We're kind of seeing this in acting, where a young generation
no real big scandals. No one's going to
has legs.
rehab.
Right. It's a generation that has legs.
God, you're seeing that really more in the music industry than you are.
You're seeing it everywhere because you realize the faults of the generation. It goes up a level, and these people want to have sustainable careers.
Yeah, and I think it's who you surround yourself with too.
Well, they're smart about that too.
Yeah.
And so the final frontier for that, what the final frontier?
Star Trek.
No, would be athletes.
Okay, yeah.
We will see it now in athletes.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, one of the poster children for this is J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
Super clean,
Yeah.
ready to go. We have Brady. We have Peyton
Manning.
And, and Brady will forward this because he will eclipse his, expected life expectancy in football because he's so straight edge.
Yeah.
He will go another 3.
Have you ever seen his diet?
Yeah, it's
macro times 10.
Yeah,
it's
calculated,
and it's all Giselle's fault. She's the one who keeps him. She's the one.
Has
man.
she ever aged?
She's
Has that been scientifically
I don't
proven?
know.
I don't think she's aged.
But you know what? I think it's what she puts into her body and how she takes care of herself.
People
I don't know.
People don't realize if you purify your blood with good things, there's a windfall from that.
They freaking eat quinoa, and if they want to for dinner to spice it up a bit, they'll add a little chicken broth.
Yeah, right.
I'm like,
yeah.
What? Do you eat a brownie every now and again?
So,
but no, I think there's a thing to you know, I hate to say, like, the Taylor Swift effect.
Yeah.
You know, you keep your nose clean and success comes your way.
So, getting back to this movie, were you disappointed that they did not end up together?
No, I think it had to be that way.
Okay.
I think, oh my gosh,
Okay.
it literally, but
So-
it's like you think like she's going to get to that jazz club where she accidentally runs into him at Seb's, right?
Yeah.
Sebastian is his name in the movie. And you think like, you know, she's in her mind going, as he's playing this song
And
that he wrote
she
for
sees
her.
the logo that she designed.
Right. And it's
as a
all
neon
like
sign.
coming together. And these are all of the things that like you may leave someone's life and be out of their eyesight, right? Not be involved anymore, but it doesn't necessarily mean that what they left on you doesn't resonate and impact your life. No, I'm not. They couldn't be together. And there's a moment when you think like she's reminiscing that she's gonna like, when he's done playing that song, that like she's just gonna push her husband aside and jump up onto that stage and like totally kiss him and they'll be together. But it's that this is what makes it so realistic, is that that was then, this is now, she's got to go, and he winks at her and he smiled. All he had to do was smile at her, and you just know it's okay. And
So
they just were two people that knew each other and then didn't.
I'm okay with that, but then again, I'm not okay with that.
I'm fine with it.
I'm not okay with 2 points with how this movie wrapped up.
Okay.
Point number 1, the child.
Not necessary. I think you don't need to throw it in there.
Because with the kid locks in the marriage. See, so after that moment at the club,
You know.
it can never happen,
Right.
Because of the kid. Okay. Number 2.
That she left Ryan Gosling for Tom Everett Scott.
Now I'm a little bit perturbed.
Who, by the way, played a jazz drummer in That Thing You Do.
Oh yes.
Remember, he was all about
jazz.
All
right, so why don't we have happy endings anymore in movies?
Because life isn't like that. And I think
hold on.
romance movies and fairy tales and cartoons.
But wait. I was actually my friends in Italy. We've been going back and forth about this movie right before you got here. Mm-hmm. She said the exact same thing.
She's
like, but we're here, right?
Yeah.
You're here. I'm here.
Yeah.
People listening are here.
Yeah.
People fall in love in real life.
Yeah, they do, but
there are happy endings in real life.
There are, but they don't always end up that way. And this was more realistic. Like you could do all the right things and it just be really bad timing. You can,
I get it.
And what I thought was so like of the moment with this movie is, you know, yes, you love this person, but you're not willing to give up your own life's ambition just to be with that person. And I think that's a very like millennial, very generational sort of like mindset to want to put yourself first.
Well, no, I think sometimes the course of relationships is you depart and then you reach that fork again. You depart and reach that fork again.
You absolutely do.
So
no one knows that better than I do.
This could have been that.
Yeah.
And they didn't have to have like a big moment at the end, but I'm kind of there is a side of me that's a little bit tired of seeing these open endings, which sometimes seem sloppy, these interpretation endings, and not putting a stamp on, hey, people end up in love all the time.
Sure,
because we're here.
I think it sends the right. I literally think it sends
society
the right.
Continues.
I think it sends the right message that yes, you know what. You could hope, but like life goes on, and the best that you can hope for like somebody that is in your life that you let go of is that you can get to a point where you wish them well instead of wonder what could have been.
Yeah. So what do you think? So when I was leaving, and look, I don't want to act like I don't love this movie because I do. But when I was leaving the theater, I was battling what the point of the movie was by that point. What is the point of La La Land?
What's the point?
And I think if you struggle with that, as you are, I think it validates a little bit of what my position is.
Yeah, I could say, but I didn't feel like cheated at the end of it. I didn't, I was so like pleasantly surprised, and I felt myself like definitely like not crying, but I definitely felt like heartstrings and teary eyed and like, F Ryan Gosling. Like,
so let's
here we go again.
Let's talk about like Gone with the Wind. Mm-hmm. All right. Tons of lessons in that movie.
She does not get her happy ending.
But there's lessons learned in that movie.
Yeah.
There's lessons defined.
Yeah.
I think we're in an age of cinema where there's no more lessons. Where everything outside, and here's the crazy thought, crazy idea. Outside of a superhero movie, the lessons are gone. And I think it's destructive to like what if you consider all of this like an art form. Some people do, some people don't. Okay.
I don't know.
You know, because like even when you go to like Casablanca, they don't end up. But
it's a very similar.
But it's a principled stance by the end of that movie. There's like a principle line being drawn. The whole point of that entire movie, the whole point that he's even in Bogart's in Casablanca, is he's a principled guy. This is a movie of two people convincing each other to follow their dreams, and their dreams are, so
maybe it like a sacrifice. Like even though he didn't know if he was gonna like get her back and that they would be together, he was gonna make sure she got to that audition because he was just knew it could be the one to take her.
Yeah.
To save her dream of wanting to become an actress.
I mean, I think
he sacrificed, he did it for the right reasons. He didn't do it to try to get her back. He did it because he knew it would help to fulfill her dream. And that is a selfless act.
So do you, like, you're involved in a marriage where you and Sean, well, we'll just reveal your husband's name. You guys are in a position where you're in similar, and we even profile you. I wanted to profile you a little bit,
oh my gosh.
like an hour ago.
Oh, geez.
You work in radio full time. He works in radio full time.
Correct.
You guys are in a similar position that these two were.
Yeah.
Okay. So did any of that resonate with you?
I mean,
like did you walk out of the theater saying, "Holy shit, maybe I should push Sean because I know he really wants to do this thing"?
No.
And that's a little bit what I battled with too, because I don't really think that's very much realistic. I think that's like the fantasy part of LaLa Land, that you get that single nudge, because usually when you power through with what the two of them had stacked up against them, it's like more obsessive than anything.
Well, I can definitely
what you saw in Gosling's character. You saw him being obsessive.
So there's a point where one becomes more successful than the other, and the other harbors like a little bit of resentment. When he was going to go out on tour with John Legend, she's like, "You're going to be gone for like an entire year," and he thought that maybe she was so, against it because she was like a little jealous of his success. I could tell you that in my position, there have been times where, there's been a situation where Sean was let go from his job in radio.
Yeah.
And it was at a time where I was being handed more responsibility with my career. And he was definitely very touchy and very edgy in watching me go to work to do the thing that was like taken away from him. And he wasn't sure at that time if he was ever going to get another offer to be back in radio. So it definitely was hard. And we're in the same industry. I'm not going to lie, it becomes a little bit competitive sometimes. Yeah. But you have to be each other's biggest supporter and advocate, and not and put those sort of things aside.
Because I did think about you and Sean more, like out of that movie, considering,
I could think of myself and someone else, but not that.
Well, no, because like I my pace relationship, like I feel like I was Ryan Gosling. Like when I saw that, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I'm pretty sure that's what I was doing. And the ship sailed, no big deal. Relationships end, life goes on. But at the end of the day, I'm like, can two people coexist, knowing that they did that for one another? And that's kind of right. Like maybe that's the bigger question. That's the point of LaLa Land.
Sure, it could be.
Because there can only be one gorilla in the room. and maybe like, is that the subtext? And you know what? Like delving into it, like it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's why so many celebrity marriages go south. Maybe you have two people competing for the attention in the room all the time, and it gets exhausting.
I will say, look, I think the reason why I wanted this movie to have a happy ending, this is partially with my perception of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
That's so sad.
And look, and I even know going into the movie, I was told that I even know that Gosling was involved with Eva Mendes, and they have 2 kids. I was told that. Like,
Wait, like to this movie?
Well,
they met on Place of the Pines. They've got two daughters.
I have no idea. I don't follow
So
the gossip,
funny.
but I saw the Brad Pitt thing. Like that's kind of what I'm arriving
Oh,
at.
okay.
Okay. If Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie can't make it work,
There's no hope for the rest of us.
we're all doomed.
Oh my God,
right?
it's terrible.
Okay.
Like if like Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson ever break up, like that's it. I'm expecting like the moon to fall out of the sky.
Okay.
I'll die.
Yeah, so I feel like relationships are so much harder. If like they're just hard, period. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes it's good for movies to remind us that they can be good.
Yeah.
Movies of this caliber.
The only
Like,
thing,
and that's why I was a little bit disappointed.
so I went in with extremely low expectations and found myself being pleasantly surprised, smiling about it, and feeling very emotional about it.
Yeah.
But I think if I had to say, okay, this is the one thing that irks me, is that they took that last couple minutes of the movie, they really fast forwarded you. It's like 5 years later. Now she's like this huge superstar and her face is on the side of like, bus stops and this and everything. And I was like, oh, like really? That's such like a predictable ending.
Right.
That the movie begins with her waiting on a famous actress at a coffee shop within the movie studio, and then she becomes that woman.
Very cliche, very set up.
So that's my only thing. But I know that that's the only way that he could have gotten to where it needed to go and like tie it up into like a nice package.
Yeah. Well,
but I highly recommend it, especially if you're on the fence about it because you think that you don't like a movie musical. It has very little to do with it. I think it's more just an ode to like a Singing in the Rain and an American in Paris. And so visually it looks very much like those films, but it has such a secondary layer. It's like not even about the music, although it's the score, not even the songs, not the soundtrack, the singing. I'm talking about just the score that accompanies the movie. I'm telling you, I will be downloading that and listening to that on a frequent basis.
I think some of that was, so the one other thing I noticed, and I kind of want to do a larger study, is that the movie gears up and you have like a couple songs, like mostly like first act. Like there's 3 or 4 songs in the first act. And then going through the third act, there's hardly anything.
There's like nothing. It's all like story.
And I was like, at this point, I'm not sure what I'm watching.
Or why is it a musical in the first place?
Correct.
Other than the fact that he plays piano in a jazz club.
Exactly.
Jazz band.
So you can, like, now it's almost like the same argument that I make with the Transformer movies, which is you can technically, like, they're animated movies. Mm-hmm. There's an animation on every frame.
Oh my gosh! If you look back at like the original Transformers was on the other day, I was like,
oh yeah.
Why did I think? Like, there's some scenes where like, why did I think this was good?
Yeah.
Like it's just so contrived.
But yeah. So like the point I'm getting at is like people like to play with genre or like what's happening on the technical end, and then there's another side that likes to define it and block it in. So like technically you can argue Whiplash musical, right? Like you can make that argument.
Don't know.
Like
I mean,
you
don't know.
You can kind of, and I like that this movie like reformats itself as you're watching it.
It's just beautifully shot. Yeah. Whiplash kept you on the edge of your seat. You were like right there with that timpani the whole time. You know, you're living on that edge with this kid and his fingers are bleeding and the guy's yelling at him. This one, I think, you know what? The whole movie is a dance, right? So maybe it begins with a dance and is an ode to those movies because it really is a dance. It's just so beautifully shot.
Yeah, but I do think that this movie is important because it is a reminder of what built Hollywood.
Sure.
And those
yes.
earlier movies built Hollywood.
And they're dying off. I mean, Debbie Reynolds
Yeah.
just died. She's one of those last,
Yeah.
living legends of the early days.
And when it comes to foundations, like these movies that people now kind of like turn their back on, like these movies essentially created the third largest economy the world's ever seen. Think about that.
Because I think the people that made the movies and the people that watched them, that whole generation is, becoming like past tense.
Well,
they're all dying off.
But do you also think maybe the previous generation had like different?
They needed distraction and they needed entertainment.
Yeah, like feeling for the content though, meaning that like it was okay to be black and white, and now everything's gray. Like
I mean, there's like a deeper metaphor,
like there's like a deeper cynicism rolling through the content. That and this is a little bit of like where I'm coming from. I'm like, God damn it, can we just have a fucking happy? Like, can we have a happy ending? And anything that's not a superhero, and even now, like the superhero movies are like they just walk that freaking line.
I know.
So, and it's just kind of like, man, like what is happening? Like why can't we have the good,
I don't know.
Like the good guy win anymore? Why can't we have two people just fall in love? I don't think LaLa Land would be any different of a movie
if they ended up together.
Because you had such an emotional invested interest.
100%.
And it's almost like no life lessons learned by telling me things don't work out.
Okay.
I know. Like I'm an adult man.
Sure.
Teenagers know it's not going to work out.
Right.
They think the world's doomed anyway.
Right.
So like spread a little bit of cheer.
I don't know. I think it's like, again, it's just, they think that by making unpredictable endings, they're being unpredictable,
Yes.
but we've become more used to unpredictable endings that now they become expected.
Yeah. And while I was
maybe
watching,
we'd be surprised if they end up
while
together.
I was watching this movie, in the back of my mind, I was like, crap, like they're not going to have the balls to put them together. It's almost like reverse thinking.
Wonder if there's an alternate ending
So
that will
maybe.
come with the Blu-ray.
When it comes Oscars, February 28th, 2017, 89th Oscars. We're going to get a nomination for this. Best
I
Picture?
think they should just right now
Best
just
Director?
give him everything. Like just
Okay.
be done with it. Like the acting awards are going to go to other people. Neither person is going to it. They'll get nominated, but
Yeah.
they won't win. But they should just like hand screenplay, director,
Original music,
music, score,
song.
song. Yeah,
Cinematography.
so sad because Justin Timberlake really deserves it for Trolls.
Yeah, so
Excuse me, but yeah, it's going to win Best Picture.
So like you want this to conquer the most of the technical.
Oh, it's not what I want. It's
Yeah.
going to happen. Like I can fast.
So
I might as well just record it and fast forward through it because
What do you think this movie's up against?
okay,
Fences.
Hidden Figures was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, that's in the running.
You're gonna see Moonlight.
Have you seen Hacksaw Ridge? I haven't.
No, but
But I'm such a Mel Gibson as a director is a freaking beast. He's a monster.
I'm in
He's so
such
good.
I'm in such this like agitated state that I can't like get those. It's such a personal thing because how can I say I listen to Michael Jackson music and we don't know what was going on with him? He wasn't right in the head.
Well, yeah,
Like with
okay,
Mel
he
Gibson,
was crazy.
I don't want to support him, but he made this incredible movie. Like I don't know if I'm gonna watch it or not. But
Hell or High Water.
amazing.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges is so good. And gosh darn it, good for Chris Pine, man.
Well,
I didn't see him coming in this movie.
No, I'm happy Chris Pine's in that only because he's usually good in everything.
I mean,
Right,
I would put him in that class.
he's-
You were asking me who I would put in a class with Ryan Gosling? I might put him up in there. He's a little older,
He
but
has the potential, but he needs another 5 or 6 Hell or High Waters.
sure. I mean, because
Like,
he's known for Star Trek
Like
now.
I would put him in Star Trek
Captain-
because he's Captain Kirk. But he's so good in that first Star Trek. I would actually say maybe he needs 4.
Oh my God,
4 of those.
you know the first movie I ever saw him in was Just My Luck with Lindsay Lohan.
Oh my God! Yeah,
He was like
So,
the guy in that movie.
real quick too. the previous episode we kind of had a dissection. I don't know if that's the one you were texting me on.
Yeah, about Wonder Woman.
Okay. Just let me pick your brain real quick. I think we're going to do this and then we're going to sign off real quick. Do you care about that movie as a woman? Do you think it even matters that you're a woman?
I'm sorry, Wonder Woman?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. You know, I'm just...
What?
It's because I like Gal Gadot. Oh my God, I think she's everything. Okay. I think she's everything.
I liked her in Fast and Furious.
Oh,
so
I don't know her in Fast and Furious. Like, I've never seen any of those movies except for Tokyo Drift. But
which is the best one?
I love it so Tokyo much. Drift. But oh my God, she was just like, you know, so many people have been attached to this character on the big screen in a live action format for so long. It's like, okay, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Sandra Bullock, Megan Fox, like, who is it going to be? And then this person I've never even heard of just, like, comes out of Austria or wherever she's from and just blows me away. She made Batman versus Superman worth it and made me look forward to Wonder Woman. I was like, yes, I want her to have her own movie.
You are maybe the only person that has said that to me.
I don't care. I love it.
So
it's the little girl in me that just wants to see the next incarnation of Wonder Woman because I don't think she's gotten enough attention.
Would you be more interested if they used the character the same way that they used her in Batman vs Superman, which is she's a part of movies, but she's not the movie?
Why doesn't she deserve to have her own movie?
Well, because I really feel like
I think this is a discussion for another time.
Yeah,
but
well, I feel like that her character and Superman are, you know, put them together are merchandise, and there's not a craving for the content anymore. That
I think that they can exist like apart from each other. I totally think they can.
But it's like if the Superman movie, like Man of Steel, like it kind of doesn't resonate. Like what the Wonder Woman movie kind of has no chance because their characters and like the core and kind of like what they like everything that they represent is gone from the culture and lexicon.
Is Zack Snyder directing?
No, they have a it's a female.
All right, then we have like half a chance then because he takes it too far sometimes.
But Zack Snyder has made one of the biggest budgeted.
I don't want to talk. If you're talking about Watchmen, this conversation has to end.
I'm talking about Sucker Punch. Which
oh God! Oh my gosh! That movie's
on women,
so good.
On women empowerment.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't like. I really feel like people are going to they take the Wonder Woman movie like as they're being taken to school, and I think a little bit of that age is over.
Wonder Woman is so political. She's like in a she's very much like the Hulk. She's so rooted in like military, you know? Like I just kind of want to see where they go with it.
Yeah, I just feel like referencing the Hulk, it took him a while to figure out that the Hulk is better in other people's movies and not in
his
movie.
own. Okay.
And that's kind of like what kind of like my feeling, because I'll say this. It's different when you deal with like some of the Marvel characters, because the Marvel characters have more like they have really good storylines. They're fantastic, and they have
great backstories.
And Wonder Woman has zero. Like there's maybe like 8 or 9 issues of one.
All right,
like,
so maybe I don't know. Maybe they'll give her one.
Yeah, but I just feel like that's what I mean about like the ship has sailed on that character, because people will say they love Wonder Woman because they have a Wonder Woman mug, but they're not willing to consume more content outside. And you know, but I put Superman in that same exact category, where people want the shirt and that is it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think they figured that out. That's why they killed him. That's why they freaking killed Superman. Because they can just put him in things now. He's freaking dead, and it's all Batman. Like that entire DC side. But look, I'm not saying like they.
But didn't they give Brie Larson a character in the Marvel movies that was originally written for a man?
No, no. The character has been a man. The character also has been a black woman.
Okay.
It's more like
she's Captain somebody, right?
She's Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. Okay.
Okay, but it's more or less Marvel
But she's getting her like own movie.
Yes.
So I think that
but
it's okay for a female superhero to have her own movie.
yeah,
and I think I'm curious to see what Wonder Woman is.
It's not about that. This is really about Wonder Woman, as opposed to Marvel is setting up this character already.
Yeah.
Like, like Marvel's doing things to set up a character that no one even knows about, so they can do anything with that character in film. I think Wonder Woman is like this cultural icon. It's almost like
we've seen it work and we've seen it not work. So it really all depends.
Yeah, I think the day will come when people realize that cultural icons can die, and we saw it with Mickey Mouse. We saw it with the Lone Ranger. We saw it.
You know what?
We've seen it.
You're confusing me. You want them to kill Superman off and keep him dead, but you want a happy ending in a movie. Mm-hmm. So which is it?
Yeah, look, I'm just no.
You like your superheroes dead and your romantic couples together.
Oh no, I'm just no. Well, no. Can he just end up with the girl in one movie, please?
You want the guy to get the girl. You want the guy's got to get
Gosling to go happy, but
look, he's doing just fine.
Yeah, I really think that there will be a blowback for Wonder Woman because it feels so forced. And
that may be true, but I'm curious.
Yeah. I'm always curious. I'm not rooting for it to fail.
I can tell you, I all but really didn't love. I can't say I hated it, but wasn't like a big fan of Batman versus Superman. But for Wonder Woman, and at the end of that movie, I'm like, yes, bring on the Wonder Woman movie.
I was a little upset with that they portrayed her as a like she had nothing to do in that movie other than fight.
Yeah.
And other than that, she's just looking hot and looking sexy and looking... Well, I wouldn't say hot. She's glamorous in that movie.
She's stunning.
But at the same time, it's like, you have a character now that goes back 60, 70 years. You can do more with her other than what they did.
Well, I would like to see maybe they do something with her like they did with Tony Stark and make it totally about the now.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
he's fighting off people in Iraq and Afghanistan. Like, I don't know, maybe they make her somehow like in the now.
Well, the movie is
maybe she's going to be marching in Washington, D.C. I don't know.
Yeah, here's the thing. The movie's a period piece. It takes place in the 1930s.
Well, it's not going to work then.
That's the Wonder Woman movie.
Okay, well, they need to not do that.
But no,
she needs to.
I just wanted to pick your brains. But real quick, I will say
she needs to run for president and get sabotaged by the head of the FBI.
Here's my Academy Award dark horse.
Okay.
That could steal it from LaLa Land.
What?
Arrival.
Okay, I'm coming back another time then.
Okay.
I'm coming. I can't. I watched it last week.
Yeah, because
I don't know what I watched.
I
don't know what I watched.
I will say
I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna wrap your own headphone cords like around your neck. I can't.
I will say this because I think the time has come for a science fiction movie to win the Academy Award.
It is not this movie.
And we haven't.
Oh my god.
We haven't had it because everybody wanted Interstellar to be the contender. And
that movie was 3 hours of my life I will never get back.
Right. And that's how everyone felt with it. Even though I love the visuals.
And that's how I feel about this movie.
Yeah. Well, I guess on that we will.
Okay.
We'll sign off.
Let's finish with a fortune cookie.
Yeah, and what you wanted.
So at the end of the day, we're saying like, I mean, we definitely feel like I feel like La La Land, special movie, very special movie.
It's you have to watch it.
Yeah, I think you need to watch it, even if you're a little skeptical about it. Yeah. All right.
And,
my fortune cookie.
And that crackling is let's
see what it says.
Yeah, let's hear what.
Did I get 2?
That's what she said.
This is so funny. Pay attention to your nonverbal cues and try turning it down.
There you go. That's it.
So less talking with my hands.
And where's Dallas?
He's all the way up there inside his cat tree.
He's in the Dallas Tower.
Yeah, I'm getting up there.
Okay.